Joining me today is retired Lieutenant Colonel Michael Moffett. And Mike, when I can keep up with Memorial Day, does it have really special significance to today's vets, do you think? Or has it sort of lost in one of the other 3-day weekend holidays?
Great question. Okay, full disclosure, May 30th is also my birthday.
Okay, so we know at least one vet that it has a great significance.
Yes, as a youngster, as a kid growing up, it was always a holiday. There was no school on my birthday. There were parades on my birthday. So maybe that's another reason that I preferred the traditional May 30th. But yes, as a veteran, you know, I was in the Marines in the 80s and Desert Storm in Afghanistan as late as 2010. So there were people that I always who I served with, who lost their lives wearing their country's uniform, that I try to, on Memorial Day, just think of them, you know, and keep their memories alive, at least in my head. And I know that they're not family, but they are family in a sense. So for military, and I live in Loudoun, and I'll be marching in a little town parade we do every Memorial Day with the American Legion in Loudoun. So yes, particularly for veterans and their families, but especially veterans, to remember, to use Memorial Day for what it's supposed to be, a day to remember those who gave their lives for their country. I think it's been broadened a little bit, which is good, I think. It's a day where people go to cemeteries, and they don't necessarily go to just veterans' graves. They go to family members' graves and put flowers there as well as part of Memorial Day. But yeah, I think for veterans in particular, it's important. And I hope, I'm not in the public schools like I used to be, but I hope that it receives some attention in schools as well, because I sure hope that youngsters understand why they don't go to school on Monday, May 30th. It's a holiday, and it's an important holiday, and they should be aware of the history and the reason for it.
You know, if there's something you wanted people to think about or do, on, you know, sort of as a vet, or from your personal experience, other than send you a birthday present, right? I mean,
right.
What would it be?
I think that just to remember in some fashion, whether it's decorating a grave, putting flowers up, putting a flag up, or in my case, just thinking of people that I know or knew who were gone, to keep their memories alive, because if you keep their memories alive in some fashion, then they, in a sense, are still alive in a way, and not forgotten. So again, as I said before, you know, a little program like this, and just little gestures, you know, parades, socials, commemorations, something in the newspaper, a little thing, you know, on network TV, just to raise awareness about our history, our past, and the people who preceded us that deserve to be remembered.
Well, and we'll absolutely do that here, and I hope people do that as well. Think about it, because you think about it with this sort of notion of 6 degrees of separation. Even if we're not a vet, or we don't have a direct relative that's a vet, we probably know someone who is a vet, or one of our relatives was and served.
For sure. I mean, how can you not? It's hard to quantify the value of memories. It's an intangible, it's unquantifiable, but it's real, and it's important, and it's valuable, and to just remember. And there are movies, there are Memorial Day, typically war movies, which is understandable. In the popular culture, as a history guy, I think it is so important, and it troubles me sometimes. You'll sometimes see these stories or these surveys about how unaware, I hate to say ignorant, but so many people are of our historical legacy, our traditions, our history, and I think history is so important. And Memorial Day and the 4th of July are just so historically significant, important, and they need to be celebrated and acknowledged and embraced.
Well, and certainly this is sort of a chance to look back at the service and the sacrifice that so many Americans have made over centuries, really.
Yeah, and one quick thought on that. This confusion about Veterans Day and Memorial Day. And Memorial Day is a holiday, is a day to remember those who died, who gave their lives for their country, and it's been broadened to include others as well. Veterans Day, November 11th, which is still November 11th, is a day to celebrate or acknowledge living veterans. So Veterans Day is more of a celebratory way to acknowledge and appreciate, living veterans, especially those who've been wounded, I think, who are still with us, to celebrate them being alive. And Memorial Day is a day not necessarily to celebrate, but to commemorate or remember those who paid the ultimate price for our country.
And the freedoms we enjoy.
Yes.
Well, we're out of time in this segment. When we return, we're going to talk about modern day vets, so please stay with us.